Right. Good evening, and thank you everyone for joining for this late session. Hi everyone, my name is Atticus. I am one of the key mentors with Atticus Advisors. I'm very glad that all of you found the time to join us. A little bit about my background before we get to the course, the webinars, the agenda, and then finally a couple of Q&A from the group. So I have been a consultant for the last 11 years. I'm myself an engineer and then an MBA. A career shift, a shift in what my objectives were, a shift in what I sought to be when I was 18. Did my engineering in electrical engineering, was okay as a student. After that, I tried my hand at 4 or 5 different things. One was sales, which was with insurance, then with operations, and then finally with data analytics and consulting. And it is in the last one where I actually found my true calling, where I decided and I understood that my role and my profile is suited best as a consultant. I then started applying for CAT and other college exams, pretty much the journey that you guys are doing right now. I had tried at that point of time for 2 years. So my final year, then that's when I gave my CAT my first attempt. I was okay. The year after that, not that great. And finally the year after that, which was good according to my standards. Finally, I took admissions. Some of the best calls that I had. My best admission was NMIMS. I graduated with the majors in finance. I interned within the corporate strategy team with a large insurance broking firm called Jardine Lloyd Thompson. Post that, I converted that into a PPO, which is a pre-placement offer. That's something that you get if you are reasonably good in your internship, and I was reasonably good. After that, I joined them as a full-time management trainee, and I have been with them ever since. So that's a bit about me and my journey, guys. I'll be taking up Q&A in a short while, but if you have any questions, feel free to DM that or put it in the chat. Thank you. All right, a bit about our agenda. Now, all of you here are students who have given the CAT exam. All of you here have given the big 3-letter exams and 4-letter exams and 5-letter exams. If there are some, there are a couple of 5-letter exams as well. You've done the hard part, which is the technical part, which is understanding enough maths, English, and general knowledge and communication skills to crack those exams. Now comes the next part, which is what we are here for, is figuring out whether your profile or your background is the right fit for your B school applications. Now, I'll keep reverting back to where my career is, and that's going to help you a little bit more in understanding this. Right after my internship and when I joined as a management trainee, right from the first year, I've also been part of the recruiting team, which would go out and find other consultants like me across different colleges, like NMIMS, FTI, SPJ, SIBM, SCM, HRD, and all of them. And I would be joining them in their recruitment drives, figuring out who's the next management trainee, and so on and so forth. In that journey, which I did, there were a lot of learnings that I got when I did that, and I'm going to keep bringing that to the first point of our agenda, which is my profile the right fit for a B school? Can you guys share my screen? My screen visible? Yeah, thank you. Okay, first things first. What is a B school worthy profile? Yeah, I'll just answer that question just a little while. Sorry, just a second. I'll just answer that question in a short while. There are a couple of broad objectives of why anybody would join a B school. The most important objective is to get a placement. The strongest bet or the best chance that you have in getting a placement is during your summer internships. Now, let's ignore COVID for a minute. The standard application deadline, the standard application dates that you have is from April, from Feb to April. Your admission deadlines go right from April right up till June or July. Some of the IIMs go till July, some of the IIMs close out in June and so on. NMIMS, for example, is June. With your application window in Feb to April, the coming 2-3 months, admission window in April to July, your summer internship interviews will start in September. Can anyone tell me what is the time difference between July and September? Sir, it is literally 2 months. That's right. Right. The time that you have from the time you get admitted into your MBA college, so you get your admission. Your admission in July, let's call it June, July, and your summer internship interview, which is September, 2 months. Now, do you honestly believe that in those 2 months, you would have achieved or understood enough, or you would have differentiated your career or your profile enough from your other batch of other brilliant students, equally as brilliant as you are? No. The journey to distinguish your profile, the journey to distinguish your CV starts now. Yes, your journey, yes, someone rightly said. The journey should have started probably a year back, a year and a half back, but let's not talk about a year and a half back, let's talk about right now. Now, so point one, your profile is right now. Your profile isn't what you build after you get your admissions. Next part, what is a profile? There would be a big chunk of it would be the brand. Now, the bigger the better the brand, the bigger the better the box. This box can be huge. This could be a huge box. This could be perhaps the biggest box out there, which makes it something. If not, if you don't already have that brand with you, comes the next brand, which is your undergrad. Comes your work experience. You work with BCG already, you work with Bain, PwC, ITC, a couple of the biggest, best brands out there. Brand constitutes an important component of your profile. Can anybody guess what comes next? UG level. Yeah, I just covered that. It comes in your brand. You've done from a great organization or something. Next is, yes. So next is UG marks. Okay, I'll just put this down. PG marks. Somebody said PG marks. Some people here have done their post graduation as well. Okay. UG marks, PG marks. Work experience, number of years. Okay. Type of experience, interesting. What else? Co-curricular, extracurriculars. Extra comes here. Co-curriculars would be here. Volunteering, interesting. Good. What else? Tech skills. Okay. Okay. This is a fairly intelligent batch. I have summarized most of what I would have mentioned myself. Yeah. Most important is brand. The brand is pretty much done. This conversation is over. If you say, sir, I have a great brand and you can, you want to, you can leave this webinar right now. You probably have something out. In case you don't want to, in case you don't want to bet your entire career on just one brand on your CV, then I would like you to hold on to the webinar. Next is your UG marks. Okay, this is a medium to low. Unless you are the batch topper in your university, unless you have got stellar scores, unless you're in the dean's list, unless you're a gold medalist, your undergrad marks are medium to low. They would anyways form a cutoff when you're going for admissions in an IIM, for example, 85% minimum. PG marks, the same. It is mostly low. Work experience. So this somebody said work experience. I'm guessing when you said work experience, you meant number, right? Number of years. This depends upon this. We'll circle back to this, the type of experience. Tech skills. Technical skills. Yes, CFA is a technical skill. CA is a technical skill. Excel is it's a proficiency skill. Insurance is a skill. Stock markets is a skill. So there are a lot of things. Let me just write them down for people who want to get it. Insurance, CFA, FRM. कौन क्या क्या लिख रहा है कोई? CFA हुआ. Excel is all the coding languages, AIML, coming them all together. They are a part of your technical skills. Co-curriculars, paper presentations, right? Paper presentations is the best example of a co-curricular exercise. Paper presentations, journals, relevant competition. So it doesn't mean breakdancing and hip hop and TikTok competition. It means relevant to your line of work or your line of academic journey. Extracurriculars, sports, drama, that's right. Singing, music, anything not related to your ads from our work. That's the definition of extracurricular. Volunteering is CSR. Here, now I spoke about this, how these two are linked together. The ideal B school profile is actually the ideal profile we look for when we go out for looking for summer interns in multiple languages. UG and PG, yes. Up to a limit, it should be there. There are too many Fs. If you plunk too many years, starts acting as a red flag. If one of you has done that, then that's an exception. We can take that question later. Tech skills, very powerful. The number of tech skills that you have a very strong alignment to why you're taking your next career choice. Let's be honest. A lot of you are making your career choices which are different from your undergrad. Engineering, law, medical. I remember someone bring architecture. Yes, he wrote architecture. All of these different types of different fields that you have in undergrad and postgrad, you are making a significant career shift. So the ideal B school profile, coming back to it, key thing that we look for is intent. I want to see that you intended to study in your B school and you intend to be an MBA. You did not accidentally come upon it. You didn't get bullied into it, forced into it, attracted into it, fell into it, any of those things. The stronger the intent for pursuing an MBA degree, the stronger is your B school profile. How do you show intent? Sir, I have done 15,000 courses. Great, very good. Good. Who has 45,000 courses? Are they aligned with your bigger objectives of being an MBA? Are they aligned with your bigger objectives of doing or being an MBA? If they are, then great. That is what would prove your intent. Spend a little bit more time here. Sir, this intent is a little gray. Yeah? Yes, sir. How do you prove intent? Sir, I just did my engineering and then I gave my CAT. Where does my intent come from? Sir, I wake up every morning, sir, and I think about Steve Jobs, sir. Sir, I want that money, sir. Sir, I know exactly what to do with my first job, sir, my first salary. So how do you prove your intent, or how do you indicate intent? 3 ways. Formula. It's a basic framework formula. There are 3 things that have absolute most that show the most amount of tangible intent for an MBA. First and foremost is experience. Sir, I have worked in this. If you have worked in management, if you have actually worked in management, that shows that you have intent. You don't need to negotiate or argue any further. After your engineering, you joined as a sales associate in a company, joined as an HR associate, joined as a financial analyst, joined as a data analyst, anything related to business, related to management. That shows that you actually work in management. That shows that you have experience, and that proves intent. So that's number one. Number two is courses. I have studied. I have professionally studied, okay, aspired, learned. Not everything qualifies as this. A lot of courses are there on Coursera by a lot of people. Not all of them are eligible for calling as a part of your profile. Some courses do. There's a course by Atticus. In fact, we can talk about that later. I'll cover that in the last 10 minutes of the session. If you don't have any Q&A, we can do it earlier. CFA, CA, market research, consulting, data analytics, Excel for data analysts, MIS. There are multiple different courses which have a bent or a shift towards management, and those are ones which qualify as showing his interest. Finally, interest. Stock trading, freelancing, startup internships, founding, co-founding. This is the hardest. While you don't have any experience in management formally, which means that you haven't worked in a firm with management, while you may not have had the opportunity to do courses, you can still show that you have an interest in management based on your interests. You could talk about your time in stock trading. You could talk about your time in real estate. You could talk about your time in helping out your father's business. They may or may not count as the above two, which is formal experience or courses, but they all show that you have an interest in management. Please understand, you need to showcase that you are not ordinary. You need to showcase that you are not mediocre. You are special, you are different. And believe it or not, most of the people we meet, we have interacted over the years, they are special, they are different. They unfortunately don't know how to put it on paper. Which is why the point one is, do you have a B school worthy profile? So the number one and most important thing to prove is intent for MBA. That makes your profile attractive. Number two, excellence. Any field of career in anywhere that you choose, apart from pure arts, be acting and music, direction and painting and singing, and the other softer arts, everywhere else, excellence is always found as a great characteristic. District swimmer, gold medalist, national level star player, so on and so forth. You would have noticed that I haven't written stuff related to academics or work so much. These are all traits in winners. These are all traits in successful people. A B school profile is looking for successful people. They're looking for people who want to or intend to do an MBA or always shown strong intent for MBA, and they want to see people who have shown success. If you have in your profile any area where you have succeeded in, if realistically the only thing that you have succeeded in was in class 2 in the Maggie quiz competition in your school, then that's fine, and you put it out there. But you want to search your brains hard and long about what have you succeeded in. Tangible success, district level swimmer, guest champion year after year. Sir, I've been a great son. Great. Tell your dad to print it out, laminate it and send it to you. Find out ways in which you can show excellence in your profile, because excellence in one avenue or one area in our life usually translates to excellence in others. Third and final, what makes a B school profile work? It's an extremely dicey, uh, what do I put it? Politically incorrect word to put out there because there's no right word to frame. It's sort of it's an amalgamation sorry, of multiple things that come. I know there are questions which are forming in your mind. Sir, you did not talk about communication skills or English, or you did not say whether we are putting analytical skills, or sir, team building, sir, leadership, sir. I have leadership, so much leadership I kept yesterday only in the bag. No, it's great. Very difficult to show leadership in your profile. People see right through it. This I'm talking at your levels. Uh, if there are people here who have tangible leadership to show, if you are a major in the army or something, I'm absolutely happy. It'll fit all of them. Then you don't need to do any. Just write one sentence. Major in the army. It's good enough to show that you have an intention and you're a great candidate for engineering. In case you're not, don't chase those keywords and taglines, leadership, team building, and so on. Those come a little later. Right now, you're still figuring out how to find your way in an organization, in the management area. General awareness is a combination of a couple of things, and I'm going to try and articulate this as simply as possible. First is business fundamentals. What is debit credit? What is debit credit? Demand, supply, positioning, big market, small market. What is market cap? What is recruitment? How is it different from hiring? What does it mean when I say that something's valuation is $100 million? Where is the money? Is the $100 million in the bank? Is it in the air, in the cloud? Where is it? Business fundamental, which is called the language of business. Figuring out basic business jargon, figuring out what are the fundamental terms and phrases and concepts used in business so that somebody can have that conversation with you. If today I tell you this pan store, the cigarette pan stall has terrible positioning, you need to have enough understanding of business fundamentals to know what I meant by that. All I meant was it positions itself as it is selling poison, whereas it is not selling addiction, slightly different. Small tweak and it's a change in position. Business fundamentals is there. Second is concepts. Understanding of what are the key concepts of business from a more of a regulatory or a law perspective, slightly different from business fundamentals. So what this means is, what does it mean to set up a company? Some of the accounting guys here would be very clear. What does it mean to set up a company? How does it differ? When someone says that realistically you cannot apply for a loan of 1 crore rupees, suppose your case study is you're having a group discussion interviews for your applications, and the question is, how do I raise my market share in a company? Your answer cannot be just go to the bank and raise 2 crore rupees. You need to have some basic understanding of how business works, and that you can't walk into a company, walk into a bank asking for a loan of 2 crores. You need to have a lot of paperwork behind, or a lot of things, or a lot of assets to put out there, etc. Third, GK, current affairs. It's fairly straightforward. Read the pink papers, any of the pink papers, all the pink papers if you can. That solves the problem. Right. Okay, I'll just stop here for 1 minute and just see if anybody has any questions. Any questions from anyone? Prathamesh, okay. Next section. fundamentals for non-MBA background. So engineers, doctors, architects, even commerce students who are a little wayward, not sure how do I fit into the MBA picture. Please understand when we go out to recruit from B schools, even though we find people right from great institutions with great scores, we have fairly low expectations from them because all they have done is just studied in a classroom for 2 years, right? So we don't really expect people to become leaders or great analysts and equity research experts or market insight enthusiasts or aficionados in 1 or 2 years. But we look for trainability. Please understand this as the most key aspect when someone is looking for you. So a quick recap of how we started. Your application process, which is going on right now, will be from February to April. Your admissions would most likely be from April to July in all your major B schools. Your summer internship interviews will start from September, and your summer internship interview is one of the best chances that you would have in your entire career to land a great job, a great profile, a great brand. Obviously, you have the rest of your life as well to again get to a great job, great brand, great profile. Summer internship is one of the best chances that you have. You get 1,000 chances later. Now, as I just said, your admission into your B school is in June, July, and your interview is in September, the same year, which means it just isn't enough time to differentiate your profile, differentiate your CV in 2 months after admission to the B school. Hence, this conversation. Now, it is hard enough to distinguish yourself in this room which you are in right now. Let's make it even harder. It is even more hard to distinguish yourself in a B school. And why is that? Because everybody is as talented as you are. You are all great people with great percentages, but great percentiles, crack all the interviews and everything and reach there. How do you differentiate yourself when you're a non-MBA, you're an engineer or doctor? Quite simple. First is, let's try and think of it in a framework. Okay? No need hard skills. Okay? Let's take some example of hard skills. Recruitment is a hard skill. Equity research, hard skill. Investment banking analysis is a hard skill. Market research, arguably, is a hard skill. Data analytics is a hard skill. Until and unless you already have some of these hard skills, there is no need for you to develop them now. When you go for your interviews, we are not looking for people who already have the hard skills. Because believe it or not, many of these skills can be acquired over a period of time. But what we cannot acquire is a great candidate. So when I go out and hire you, I am not looking for someone who's already an equity research analyst. Because from a market perspective, you would be slightly more expensive, right? Instead, I'm looking for a student or a candidate who is trainable and who I can then later train to become an equity research analyst. Instead, what we're looking for is trainability, agility, flexibility. A lot of ability words. Apologies for that, but that's what it means. Given that you are an engineer, I want to see how flexible or trainable or agile you are in understanding finance. Hi, you're an engineer. Would you be open to a role in finance? Nobody will ever ask that question. That is not how it works. Do you want to be an investment banking analyst with our company? My name is Goldman Sachs. That's not how it works. In the course of the conversation, the course of looking at your resume, we try and see in your profile whether you have shown areas where you have shown that you are trainable, agile, and flexible. How do I show that? Courses. Intent, the entire intent part which we had here. Excellence. So let me just summarize, make it crisper. It's intent and excellence. That's the 1 and 2 from here. Sorry, you are just repeating the previous point, sir. How is that helping? Hear me out. If you have understood the previous framework that I explained in your profile, which you need to show 3 areas to the best of your ability. Even if you're not from an MBA background or a business background, you're a doctor, an architect, an engineer or something, or from a commerce background, we are still looking for the same things. We need to see that you may not already have done a CFA or an equity research, but you are open to learning new stuff and you have tried learning new stuff. You have shown your intention towards MBA. Trust me, there are a lot of people from great brands, brand being the big one, which I've mentioned here. It is the biggest thing here. A lot of students and candidates or applicants from great brands who have ignored 1, 2, and 3 significantly, and they don't come as good candidates. They are not great applicants. Just because you are from a great brand, or just because you have actually just got an experience or you have an interest, does not necessarily mean that you are a great applicant. If you are an engineer, doctor, or architect, please don't find yourself behind other people. Trust me, there are people from a business background, a BBA, BCom, who haven't taken an initiative even now to build or transform their profile towards management. You have the time to do that right now. You have the time to start adding in these 3 and in this framework, which distinguishes you. All right. Okay, great. Another stop here. I'll just pause for a second. If anybody has any questions.
Hello, sir.
Hi. Hey, Anurag. Yeah, tell me. Yes, Anurag. Sorry. Go ahead.
सर जैसे सबसे पहले तो मैं यही क्वेश्चन था कि जैसे मेरे जो एकेडमिक्स होते हैं ना, तो जैसे मेरे 10th में थे 70 परसेंटाइल और परसेंटेज, और 12th में थे 92 परसेंटेज। तो इसका मेरे कितने चांसेस हो सकते हैं अच्छे के? और जैसे मेरे ग्रेजुएशन का इस टाइम 3rd सेमेस्टर मैंने एग्जाम दिया है ना, तो मैं भी एचयू से हूँ। पहले मैं 3rd सेमेस्टर का एग्जाम दिया हूँ और मेरा 8.9 to 9 ऐसे बन रहा है CGPA। तो सर मेरे चांसेस जैसे ये अब तो मेरा ABC के नहीं हो सकते ना?
आपका कैट स्कोर कितना था?
सर मैं अभी 2nd ईयर में बीकॉम स्टूडेंट। अभी मेरा 2022 में फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट होगा।
So, but you could have you given the CAT even once? Have you tried giving the CAT once?
क्या सर?
क्या आपने अभी तक एक बार भी CAT ट्राई किया है? कोई भी?
नो सर, नो सर, नो सर, नो सर। ये 22 में मेरा फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट होगा।
ओके, ठीक है। ABC के कट ऑफ्स तो होते हैं। You see the last
यस सर,
3
मतलब
years.
उसमें ऐसा था ना कि जैसे उन लोग में एकेडमिक्स भी चाहिए होता है कि 10th और 12th में 90 परसेंटेज प्लस ही आना चाहिए।
That's right. So unfortunately, आपका unless आपका
70 है।
हाँ, unless आपका CAT का स्कोर 99.5 के above हो,
यस सर।
ABC से कॉल थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है। इनफैक्ट इंदौर एंड लखनऊ से भी डिफिकल्ट हो सकता है।
यस सर, यस, इंदौर लखनऊ का भी चेक है तो उन लोग का भी बहुत ज्यादा ही चलता है उन लोग का।
सो इट्स समथिंग व्हिच हैड हैपेंड विद मी। मेरा 12th का स्कोर थोड़ा सा लो था, 80 था, लेकिन मेरा कैट का स्कोर 99 था, मेरा इंग्लिश में 100 था, लेकिन फिर भी मेरे को कॉल नहीं आया। मेरे को इंदौर से भी कॉल नहीं आया। लेकिन you've got other colleges, you've got SPN and MTI. Honestly, getting into an admission, मतलब place that you are saying right now, right, Anurag, figuring out where you will get a call is also a function of whether you want to get into an ABC right now, and you have that kind of profile there as well.
Yes, yes, sir.
So your focus should be MBA. Your focus can be with one of the best institutes. ABC are not the only great institutes. There are other
सर
institutes
सर
of
बस वही
their.
बात है ना कि रहता है ना, जैसे पहले पहले रहता है कि हाँ अगर करेंगे तो एकदम टॉप नॉच कॉलेज से ही करना है, और उससे नीचे तो है नहीं पहले। फिर बाद में तो सब जानते हैं कि हाँ ठीक है,
और
ऐसे
उनसे
बाद में तो
नीचे
कम हो
नहीं है.
जाता
There are other institutes जो उनसे नीचे नहीं है. So for example, SP Jain is at par with IIM Bangalore.
है। यस सर।
ISB is above Bangalore and Bangalore. So there are other institutes actually in India. अगर आपको इंडिया से करना है तो, अगर आप बाहर का देख रहे हैं, so then that is a different story. That's the GMAT. वहाँ पे profile building is a little different. SOP वगैरह पे focus करना पड़ेगा. XLRI is also another great institute. XLRI के cutoffs इस तरीके के लिए. So even if you don't get IM ABC, you still have chances in XLRI, SP Jain, ISB. Did I mention Great Lakes? Great Lakes needs experience. आपको थोड़ा experience होगा तो.
यस सर, यस सर, मेरे भैया ने वहां से किया था, बट अब उनका भी बहुत अच्छा वाला नहीं है, मतलब हाँ ठीक है, ग्रेट लेक से ही उनका हुआ था।
Okay. Depend करता है. If you're looking for premium और आपका 10th scores वैसे नहीं है, maybe you should then look at realistic things. Or else you can look abroad. You can look at other institutes,
यस
not
सर।
from India. That is. Okay.
ओके
Anything else, Anurag?
सर, और कुछ ऐसे जैसे लोन्स के बारे में क्या होते हैं आईएम्स के?
Okay. बोलो.
सर वही जैसे अभी तो ऐसे ही बस यूट्यूब वीडियो वीडियो देखते रहते हैं। अभी मैंने अभी कोचिंग ज्वाइन नहीं किया, सेल्फ स्टडी कर रहे हैं। अब सोच रहे हैं कि बस जैसे कोरोना इस टाइम इतना ज्यादा फैल गया है, तो सोच रहे हैं कि जल्दी से अब ऑफलाइन क्लासेस ज्वाइन कर ले। ऑनलाइन क्लासेस का तो फिर वही कोई मतलब नहीं रह जाता है। इस टाइम 1.5 साल से हम लोग का ऑनलाइन ही क्लास हो रहा है, और कुछ भी नहीं है। जैसे यहाँ पे ऑनलाइन क्लास पे वही हो जाता है, तो इसीलिए सोच रहे हैं कि करें, ज्वाइन करें ऑनलाइन क्लास, सेल्फ स्टडी सब हो रहा है। बस यही था कि लोन प्रोसीजर अच्छे से हो जाता है।
Yes, loan is not difficult. अगर आप there are 27 to 30 colleges in India, schools के लिए, जहाँ
यस
पे if
सर।
you get an admission, then you get a loan simply by showing that you have got an admission letter. That's all the proof you need. आपको कोई mortgage नहीं चाहिए, आपको loan against property, nothing. आपके पापा के ITR फाइल होनी चाहिए. That's it. पापा या मम्मी के गार्जियन के ITR फाइल होना चाहिए. इसके बाद आपको लोन्स बहुत इजीली मिलेंगे.
सर बट मेरे पापा तो आईटीआर फाइल नहीं करते हैं।
आपके पापा ITR फाइल नहीं करते, वो
यस सर।
बिजनेस में है.
सर सर्विस में है ना, तो वो एक लिमिट जो 6 लाख 8 लाख का लिमिट है, वो क्रॉस नहीं होता है, तो उनके बिलो वाले आईटीआर फाइल नहीं करते हैं ना 6 लाख स्लैब के नीचे।
पर वो अगर सर्विस में है तो उनको एक टैक्स फॉर्म 16 को मिलता होगा ना अपने ऑफिस से.
सर इसके बारे में तो मुझे नहीं पता है। नो सर, आई थिंक ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
तो आप पूछ सकते हैं पापा.
यस
वो
सर, यस सर।
मैंडेटरी नहीं है, तो इंटरेस्ट डिफरेंस है, बट वो थोड़ा सा लेटर ऑन स्टेज का बात. तो फर्स्ट स्टेप तो कैट के लिए प्रिपेयर करना,
यस सर।
बाद फिर लोन्स के बारे में बात. देयर आर 30 कॉलेजेस इन इंडिया जहाँ पे आपको फ्लैट आउट लोन्स मिल जाए, कोई ऐसा कुछ दिक्कत नहीं.
अच्छा सर
फाइनेंसिंग इज
ये
नॉट डिफिकल्ट.
अच्छा सर, ये प्रोफाइल बिल्डिंग के लिए कुछ बता दीजिए।
हाँ, सो मैं उस पे आता हूँ. आप एक सेकंड.
ओके सर, ओके।
Right. So if nobody else has any questions, no, nobody has any further questions. We'll come to a little course that we have designed here. It is called the MBA Profile Booster. So this course has been designed by us. It's designed by consultants and other bankers, pretty much like me. We started this 2 years back, and it's been one of the bigger hits among all of our other courses, specifically with this target. So first of all, who is it for? Is it for you or not? If you are a if you're a B school aspirant or an MBA aspirant, if you have cracked your CAT, and if you have your admission letter. If you already have started your MBA, then this is not for you. But if you are going to, you're ready to, you're sure, you're certain, then this is what the course is. What do we cover there? I spoke about the frameworks that are here. These are all of our observations of multiple years of trying and recruiting in multiple colleges. कि हमें कैसा टाइप का प्रोफाइल चाहिए होता है जिनको हम हायर करते हैं. फाइनली हमने ये देखने की कोशिश की हाउ डू वी स्टार्ट क्रिएटिंग समथिंग व्हिच इज ऑफ वैल्यू एंड स्टार्ट्स कवरिंग एज मच इफ नॉट ऑल ऑफ दीस. तो यहाँ पे जो आपको दिख रहा है, वी स्पोक अबाउट इंटेंट फॉर एमबीए एक्सीलेंस इन जनरल अवेयरनेस. Unfortunately, excellence is something that is in you. We cannot make someone excellent. The person is excellent himself or he's not. Looking at intent, these are the three areas that we are covering in our course, followed by this. How do we do that? The name of our course is about boosting your profile, which is through sets of fundamentals of management. How do we do that? Finance, HR, operations, and marketing. Four concepts which are not familiar to you because you are not from this background or you haven't thought in these lines, which is pretty much your first year syllabus in your MBA, is going to be covered in a course of 16 hours. So 3 to 4 hours of each of 3 to 4 hours of each of them over a course of 2 to 3 weeks will be covered over the weekends. These sessions are going to give you a very strong, powerful avenue of learning your entirety of the crisp parts of your first year of MBA, things that will be relevant to build your profile. If you're an MBA aspirant, if you have cracked your CAT, and if you've got admission letter. Sir, if I'm an MBA aspirant, sir, if I have got my admission letter, how is it relevant? Same reason that you get an edge. For those of you who have been listening to us from the beginning, Feb to March application, April to July admission, September is your internship. How do you make yourself different from June, July to September from a knowledge perspective? From a profile perspective is one thing. From a knowledge-based perspective, what is the base of your knowledge? That is something that we will be covering here. The earlier you start getting the material, the better. If you have cracked your CAT, which means that you're going to start applying for colleges, and that's where you need to start proving or showing that you have intent for MBA. The course helps by showing you courses which shows on your CV. It provides one certificate, which is Certified Professional in Management Fundamentals. It gives you actual interest because you have showing that you are working in it. Finally, after the course is complete, every student gets a live project for 6 to 8 weeks in their intended specialization, which could be finance, HR, operations, or marketing. So you get a course duration and then work experience. All of these are combined in the MBA Profile Booster Program. This is something that we have been running, like I said, successfully for 2 years. Worked quite well. We've got students all across. Students have already gotten admission. Some students who haven't gotten it yet. Students who are targeting bigger MBA institutes. Students who have gotten their admission and they're studying in their colleges and are nervous about summer internships. They want to do a quick brush up of all the things that they've studied, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Course duration work speaks. Right. We're going to start this course quite soon. It's going to be starting in 22nd Jan. The course fees is right now kept at rupees 7,500 per individual. Because we are trying to build a batch, you are going to get a batch discount. I think, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but batch discount is around 40%. So that brings the final amount that you will have to pay after discount is 4,500. Not percentage, 4,500. Course start date is 22nd Jan, which is exactly a week from today, next Saturday. We're planning to finish this in exactly 2 to 2.5 weeks so that students have time for their other certifications, other programs, other courses. We're trying to do this quickly so that you can start with a live project and actual work with us quickly. Okay, any questions from anyone regarding the course?
No, sir.
Okay, great. All right, if are you all comfortable if some of our marketing people might contact you later with course details further if you want, and you can follow up with them if you have questions about the course. Does that work? All right. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Thank you for your time.